Hello, this is Dr. Chris Rapoff once again, and today I wanted to talk to you about some upcoming amendments to the QME regulations that have been proposed by the Division of Workers' Compensation. First, if you haven't recently reviewed these proposed changes to the regs, you may be under the impression that the reason for the DWC's existence is to pretty much punish us and make our lives miserable as QMEs. But today I'm going to walk you through some changes that they are proposing in these amendments, and afterwards I'd like you to make your own conclusion on them. I think you'll find that the DWC and these proposed changes are actually attempting to improve our lives at QMEs and not to punish us. I'll let you decide for yourself. Also, at the end of this presentation, I will give you some information and I'll ask you to voice your own opinion with these proposed changes to the DWC by posting a message on their public forum message board. You'll need to do that between now and February 25th, as that's when the comment portion of the public forum will close. I'll give you the email address to how to direct your comments at the end. Okay, you're going to find these proposed changes to the actual regulations, and it's part of the Code of Regulations of Title 8, Division 1 of the DIR. Chapter 1 of the DWC for qualified medical evaluators. Now, specifically, this is discussing Articles 3 and 4 as it relates to the assignment of the qualified medical evaluators evaluation procedure. And what is specifically being addressed in these proposed changes are going to be addressed in sections 31 and 34 of this labor code. Okay, in these newly proposed regulations from the DWC, we're going to have some changes that are going to affect us, in my opinion, in a positive manner. And I'd like to discuss those by just giving you an idea here, and then we'll actually go into the regulations themselves and see what is there and what the proposed changes will be. So what we're going to discuss first of all are the timelines. It's very interesting that they're going to be suggesting changes in the timelines for scheduling initial appointments, not for producing your report, but just scheduling them. Also, they're going to provide us with some flexibility in a QME office location, possibly office swapping, and I'll get into what that means more in a bit. Also, more opportunities and less stress for us, and possibly and potentially less travel for us as QMEs if we see fit. And the no face-to-face telehealth visits is a little confusing in the regulation, but I'd like to be able to divide that out, discern it for you, and give you the understanding as I know it. So now the next several slides we're going to be talking to you are taken directly from the DWC's proposed regulation changes. I've included the text of the current regulation and that will be possibly or potentially omitted. And you'll see this in the text with a mark that is stricken through the actual word. And then the text in red is the text that replaces the current regulation. And the reason for that is I actually wanted you to be able to see that what is the current regulation and then what is proposed and see them right in front of you. That way you can feel confident that you're fully aware of the proposed changes so you don't have to go to the actual regulations for the information yourselves. We've done the legwork for you. Okay, let's start off by talking about the scheduling an appointment with the panel QME, and that will be in section 31.3E. And they say with a party when you're scheduling, like currently, the date of the appointment, the QME has 60 days in order to have this take place. And what they are saying is we're going to give you 90 days to schedule this appointment. So instead of 60 days from the date of the appointment request, we are going to have proposed 90 days, giving us more flexibility. In addition, if they have a right to a replacement and they feel that they're within their right, instead of having that within 90 days, they are going to require 120 days waiting before the replacement panel QME is provided. And also what I would mention is this will not only apply to original evaluations, but also any subsequent evaluations. So if you have a supplemental evaluation, this will apply to you as well with these proposed changes, giving us more time. Okay, continuing in section 34, this is letter B. Now, what we currently have listed is that we have an appointment that is scheduled and it's conducted only at the medical office listed on the panel selection form. Now, for those of us who have many satellite offices, and you can by law have up to 10, they are proposing that you do not have to have that office as your home office for that examination, that it appears on the panel selection form. They're saying now that you can have any office listed by the medical director provided that there is written agreement by all parties. So this is very interesting. This helps us as long as everyone agrees that the location changes, then that will take place. Now, letter E, they're saying basically scheduling appointments and canceling appointments. They're saying within 30 days, calendar date of the cancellation, you have to reschedule. The proposed in red, in E, would be a QME or AME who cancels a scheduled appointment, reschedules within 60 calendar days. So again, giving us an extra 30 days. This is very important when we, as busy as we are, and as many of these QMEs as we're producing and that are taking place. One other thing in E here that they have stricken, an agreed panel QME. We will see throughout the regulations here that the agreed panel QME has been stricken for no other reason that this term was actually dropped in 2013 with the passage of SB 863. So agreed panel QME should not even be in the regulations anymore. So you'll just see the reference to a QME or an AME. Okay? Okay, now this proposal, 34G, so we're still in section 34, they're talking about when you cancel or reschedule appointments. And you shall not be canceled or rescheduled by a party, the attorney, less than 6 days before the appointment date, except for good cause. They move on to say that oral cancellations are followed up with a written confirming letter that is electronically served, faxed, or mailed. Electronic service is new, okay? So what I will encourage you to do is when you're finished with this, go to, in my note below here, go to this website, the DIR, and download a copy of that electronic service form. Then you can actually handle that and make it a lot easier for you. And also the date of the cancellation should be determined from the date of the postmark, which we have currently. And also, if you electronically serve it, then it will be from the electronic proof of service. So you'll have to keep that as an email, and that will be your copy and your uh, notification to them that you did serve it. Okay, now we're going to move on to section 46.3. And this is in reference to what the proposed QME regulations were involving COVID-19 pandemic. Since we're on the downside, hopefully, of the pandemic, they are changing this to reflect that as well. So, and it will no longer say emergency regulation regarding, but they are keeping remote health medical legal evaluations. So this is very interesting, and I wanted to read this specifically so you can understand it. It's a little difficult to understand. They're saying a remote health evaluation by a QME, okay, so we do those, have been doing those, some of us have, or other medical legal evaluator may be performed in the circumstance, and you notice they change, okay, this is what is currently there. What they are saying it can be performed through the use of an electronic means of creating a virtual meeting between the physician and the injured worker where both parties can visually see each other and may not be able to be in the same physical space or site, aka Zoom, Skype, things like that. So this has added a lot more flexibility to those of us who don't require a physical setting. And we'll get into what the requirements are there according to the guides. Okay, continuing on the remote health, as we talked, a QME or an AME may complete a medical legal evaluation through remote health. So it seems as if telehealth has been replaced by the word or the term remote health in this instance, when a hands-on physical examination is not necessary. So for those of us who are in the musculoskeletal field, where we're doing a number of the examinations that require a physical examination, this would not apply to us. However, for those that are not, we are now allowed a lot more flexibility if this proposal does go through. Now, of course, this agreement has to be in writing and agreed upon by all parties, which is totally understandable. And again, in 46.3, this section, they are removing COVID, the pandemic aspect, and replacing telehealth with remote health. And they're just saying that the evaluation needs to be conducted consistent and appropriate with the ethical and medical practice of the AMA guides. So you can't cut any corners. There are not going to be any other uh, ideas or any other ways to do an examination. If it's appropriate that you can do that without a physical examination, you still have to adhere to and abide by the rules of the AMA guides. Now, in addition, they finally determine and define what remote health means. They should have done this, in my opinion, a little bit earlier, but a remote health means a remote visit via video conferencing, okay, Zoom, Skype, video calling, or such similar technology that allows each party to see and converse with each other via a video and audio connection. So this is what we used to know as telehealth. Now it has just been replaced by the word remote health. We will get into remote health here in a second. That is going to change our thinking on that as well, though. In addition, in section 46.3, the number one, as you see, all of it has been stricken, and they have actually suspended this, a proposal suspending this that indicates that you can conduct a QME examination at a medical office that's listed on the panel selection form. Okay, we talked about that, and they have made that proposed change. But then they said any subsequent evaluation could be performed at another office. So before, or as it exists now, what is ever on the panel selection form, you have to have the examination there. Any subsequent examinations, supplemental exams, can be done elsewhere, provided you have a certificate for that satellite office. They have replaced this entire section with another proposal. And this should be replaced with the remote health evaluation conducted under the regulation. That medical office on the panel selection form for the QME being deemed the site of the remote health evaluation. All other remote health evaluations conducted under the regulation, that office of the physician that is within a reasonable geographic distance from the injured worker's residence shall be deemed the site of the remote health evaluation. So as we stated back in section 34, they're trying to make it a little easier for us to give us more flexibility. They're just reporting that remote health can also mean not necessarily just a telehealth, but a remote health could be at a remote office, at a different office, again, agreeable to all parties that this can take place. So there you have it. Those are the proposed regulations. As you see, actually, in my opinion, they are working with us as QMEs, and they're trying to be more understanding to our needs and our wants with these proposals. They are now going to be allowing for, if this does pass, or don't take in consideration this has not passed yet, but they're allowing for more relaxed timelines for scheduling, providing more flexibility for office locations, swapping, as I had mentioned, allowing for more opportunities for less stress by giving us more time, potentially less travel if we can find agreeable to all parties a halfway point, maybe for an office that so you wouldn't have to travel as far as you potentially are now, and no face-to-face telehealth visits. They've changed the term telehealth is more like remote health, but they define remote health as being what sounded like, in my opinion, a telehealth, which would be video conferencing or audio conferencing in the form of Zoom and or Skype, something to that effect. So these are positive changes in my opinion. I'd like your input and your suggestions as well. So finally, in conclusion, I wanted to thank you for taking your time in listening to this presentation. It is very timely. I'm sorry we didn't get it to you sooner, but this has just become available to us, and we'd like to hear from you. I'm sorry, the DWC would like to hear from you, but you could by all means contact us as well. You can contact the California DWC and provide your comments to the public forum. And you can do that via email at dwcforums@dir.ca.gov and just indicate how you feel. I think it's going to be a resounding positive form, and it'll be interesting to see how this all does pan out. As I had mentioned before, the comments are being accepted until the 25th of February, so that's next week. So please try to do this as soon as you can. And you might want to tell them what the proposed changes will do to you, how they will improve your situation and your situations as a QME. And also, it's going to help the examiners, the attorneys, and the examinees in the long run. So it's a win-win in our opinion. And all I can say is don't forget, because your voice counts. If we haven't spoken up in the past, these potential regulation changes and amendments wouldn't have even been considered. So again, thank you for your time and good luck as a QME, and I hope that you prosper. Thank you.